Hi guys, if you're tuning into my channel for the first time, thank you so much for clicking in. If you're seeing this face for the first time, I'm Julia. I'm from Kenya. I've never introduced myself on my channel. Have I? I think I have. But anyways, if you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Julia Barbara. I am Kenyan, based in Qatar. I live in between Kenya and Qatar. Kenya is a very beautiful country, and it's a country that you will definitely want to relocate to permanently, or maybe just go and see if you love the country. So anyway, if you're stopping by for the first time, please be sure to subscribe, like, share, comment. And if you're returning subscribers, you guys are the OG. We're at 10,000 subscribers now, and you guys don't know how much I really appreciate you. So anyway, without wasting time, let me just jump straight in today's video. So today I want to talk about living and moving to Kenya. So if you've been having that thought of moving to Kenya, relocating to Kenya for good, you are in the right place, because the information I'm going to share here are very helpful, especially for those people who want to move to Kenya permanently. I am Kenyan, and I know for my new subscribers, most of you don't know I am Kenyan. I know I haven't introduced myself properly on my channel, like my background and everything. It's because I don't like putting, a lot of details here, but definitely I'm gonna do a get ready with me video where I'm going to share my background and the reason why I decided to move to Qatar. I didn't relocate to Qatar permanently. I'm just here living for work. Kenya is my home. Qatar is like the second home. Most of you always think that in Kenya it's only two cities, Mombasa and Nairobi, but let me just shock you. There are almost 47 cities in Kenya. Nairobi being the capital city and the largest city with the highest population, and then there is Kisumu, there is Mombasa. Most people always know Mombasa and Nairobi because Mombasa is like, a travel holiday destination, and Nairobi is where you can get to enjoy, the Kenya safaris and all that, the capital city of Kenya. In case you're planning to move permanently to Kenya and you want to know which is the best city to live in, be sure to watch this video till the end, because I'm going to share some few things that you need to, understand before you move to Kenya. I've just mentioned that Kenya has a lot of cities inside, and there's other cities along these two cities, like Mega, there is Meru, there is Kisumu, there is Isiolo, there is Mombasa, Embu, Nakuru, Eldoret. Embu also is one of the popular cities in Kenya as well. Nakuru, Eldoret, Webuye, Nyeri, Kericho, Naivasha. Naivasha also is well known in Kenya. There are so many other cities in Kenya. Now, I can tell you for sure, these are the most important things that you need to check before you, even think of moving there. First thing is, which kind of lifestyle do you want to live? Now, like I said, Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya, which has the high population. It's the most developed cities in Kenya, which has everything. In case you are somebody who like living in a, you are a city person that you want to live in a city where it's very busy, very chaotic, Nairobi is the best place for you to live. If you want to be in somewhere that is well developed, I'm not saying that other cities are not developed. Other cities also are well developed, but Nairobi is where you can find everything. There is Mombasa, which is a very small island, which is also popular. It's a holiday destination if you want to live in this kind of, a beach life and, more quiet and very slow city. Then Mombasa could be the best choice for you. There are other cities like, Nyeri, Naivasha, Nakuru. All these other cities have different kind of lifestyle that you probably might want to live. Don't think that it's only Nairobi and Mombasa. There are other cities that you can choose from depending on your lifestyle. So that's the first thing you want to know. I'm going to talk about the two famous cities that everyone knows, Mombasa and Nairobi. I grew up in Mombasa. I schooled in Mombasa, did everything in Mombasa. I only go to Nairobi, if I want to, change the location, or if I want to just do something, because Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. Nairobi is where you can find all the embassies. Nairobi is where you can find the international airport. Nairobi is where you can find so many universities. Nairobi is where you can find so many things that you want to do. Like all the, government offices are in Nairobi. There are some offices in Mombasa, like if you, let's say you want to get a passport, you can get your passport in Mombasa as well. If you want to go to a hospital, most of the biggest hospitals are in Nairobi, but also there are some hospitals in Mombasa, there are some hospitals in Kisumu, there are some hospitals in Naivasha and all over. But if you want to find like the biggest hospital to do anything that it will need you to move from the place you are to Nairobi, you have to go to Nairobi, because Nairobi is where there is so many things. And what I can tell you for sure is the difference between Nairobi and Mombasa is one thing. Nairobi, quite expensive. Renting is expensive. Transportation is expensive. What else is expensive in Nairobi? Almost everything in Nairobi is very expensive. Even schooling in Nairobi is very expensive. So in case you want to be close to everything, then Nairobi is the best city for you to choose. Where in Mombasa is like a very calm city, travel holiday destination, very beautiful with nice beaches, nice holiday houses, nice hotels, everything, like the best and beautiful hotels, you can find them in Mombasa. Mombasa life is very cheap. Transportation in Mombasa is very cheap. Renting in Mombasa is very cheap. Food is very cheap in Mombasa. So if you are debating between living in Nairobi and Mombasa, you have to weigh these things like renting, you have to weigh, transportation, you have to weigh all these things. But at the end of the day, you have to know that there are so many things that are in Nairobi, you cannot find them in Mombasa. Still, you can always fly to Nairobi. It's 1 hour away from Mombasa. It's also 8 hours away by car. So you can also move in between the two cities, depending on the city that you choose to live in. Also, Nairobi to Kisumu is like 1 hour away by flight, 6 to 7 hours by car. Also to other cities like Naivasha. Naivasha, I think, is like 2 hours from Nairobi. 2 hours or maybe 3 hours, if I'm not wrong. Consider is development. Which city is well developed? Nairobi is the most developed city in Kenya. So in case you want to live somewhere that is very developed, you should opt to live in Nairobi. So you want to look at which city is well developed. Depending on the lifestyle that you want to live, you will know for sure which city you want to live. So the capital city, Nairobi, is the most developed city in Kenya. So if you want to live in somewhere that is well developed, then you should choose to live in Nairobi. There's something else that you have to consider as well. This is something that I've been seeing online, and it's something that people have been asking me. Is Kenya safe? Of course, Kenya is very safe. And I always get upset when someone tells me, oh, I can't go to Kenya because I've seen videos and I've seen people talking about Africa is not safe, Kenya is not safe. Because, even if I am Kenyan, I'm still African. So whenever you say that Africa is not safe, it's like you're saying Kenya is not safe. Like you're saying Uganda is not safe. It's like you're saying Tanzania is not safe. We are all neighboring country. Africa in total, all African countries are safe. At the end of the day is, which area are you going to live? Now, let me give you an example with Kenya. Kenya has so many cities inside. And that's why I was saying, depending on the kind of lifestyle you want to live, and also if you want to live in a well-developed city. Of course, if a city is well-developed, you will always find so many people living there. Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. Of course, it's populated. It's very busy. There are so many people. You expect any crime to happen there. But also, living in Nairobi, it also depends on which area do you live in Nairobi. Which area do you go to hang out in Nairobi? Of course, there are some parts which are not safe. It doesn't mean that if you're traveling or if you're going to live in Kenya, you have to go and live in those sides. No, you don't have to live in those sides. If you don't want to live in a big city where it's risky, you can choose to live in Mombasa, you can choose to live in other cities. And that doesn't mean that also Mombasa is 100% safe. Also, Mombasa has some areas which are not safe that you need to do research on before you go there. Just try and ask, I want to move to Mombasa, which area should I live? Which area is it safe? Where you hang out, you have to know your surrounding. You have to know, is this area safe? This is happening all over the world. All countries around the world are not safe. Every cities in every country, you should always expect crimes, you should always expect theft, you should always expect anything. Only place I can be honest with you is where I am now, Qatar. Qatar is safe in terms of theft. No one can, rob you, no one can kill you on the road, no one can do anything, no one can harm you anywhere you are. This is the only place that I know that is a bit safe, but it doesn't mean that it's a safe country as well. There are some other things that maybe probably happen that you can consider as crime, which is a normal thing. Everywhere in the world, you should always expect crime. Same thing, if you go to Kenya, it also depends on which area do you live. And also you always have to look at your surrounding anywhere you go. It doesn't have to be in Africa, it doesn't have to be in, you know, in Kenya, because anyone that you sit next to is not your family, is not your friend, it's people you don't know. So you always have to, you know, take care of your important items. You always have to look around, to know which kind of people are surrounding you. So it's quite normal. Same thing in Kenya. Of course, someone can snatch your phone on the road. If you are walking at night, it cannot be safe for you. But also it depends on which area you live. There are so many people who are foreigners and they are living well in Kenya because they have adapted with the kind of life in Kenya, the culture and everything. Once you go to a country, you adapt with the culture, you adapt with the lifestyle there, you will definitely know how to live. You'll definitely know that, okay, I am here, I'm supposed to be careful with my items for sure. That's quite normal. So if you're planning to relocate to Kenya, just know if you live in Nairobi, Nairobi is like the capital city of Kenya, it's quite busy. Expect to see any crime, expect somebody to maybe snatch your phone, just expect anything. Just always be on toes. Anytime that you walk, know the area that you are going to. First thing, especially in Kenya, one day I will do a video and tell you the things that you should always watch out. If you're moving to Kenya and you're a foreigner, the things that you should always watch out to, be safe once you're there. Once you know all these things, you will always be safe. So safety, of course, it's safe living in Kenya. I am Kenyan and I am alive, and crime is there as well. It's normal, it's quite normal. Something else that you should also consider, I think I've mentioned this already, is affordability. Which city do you want to live in Kenya? Do you want to live in Nairobi, which is the capital city, where everything is a bit expensive? Renting is expensive, food is expensive, transport is expensive. So expect this. You should definitely expect this in big cities. If you live in any big city, you should expect this. Now, if I compare between Mombasa and Nairobi, I think I've mentioned this already. Mombasa, life is cheaper. Nairobi, life is expensive. Kisumu, life can be expensive compared to Mombasa. Mombasa also, it depends on what are you going to do there. Are you going there on a holiday? If you're going there for a holiday, definitely you will spend, because it's a holiday destination where they have beautiful things like beach, nice resorts. So you'll definitely pay a lot to live in those resorts. But with transportation in Mombasa, food as well, let's say for example, if you travel to Mombasa as a tourist and you're staying in a hotel, you can choose to just get bed in hotel and then have your meals outside. It's quite cheap, and you can still choose to have meals in the hotel and they can still be affordable. Also, at the end of the day, depend on which hotel you're going to live. There are so many hotels in Mombasa, like so many hotels are in Mombasa compared to Nairobi, because in Mombasa they have a lot of resorts, they have a lot of cottages, they have a lot of all those travel villas and all those things there in Mombasa. Looking to the best holiday destination, if you want to sit in a beach, relax, have your drinks, then Mombasa is the place. But living in Mombasa, if you're planning to move to Kenya and you want to live in Mombasa permanently, Mombasa life is a bit cheaper compared to Nairobi. Nairobi life is quite expensive. You have to look into all these cities in Kenya and see which city is affordable for you to live, and then you will decide which one you want to live in. Now, something else is social life. If you want to be somewhere that there is social life, then you should choose between Mombasa and Nairobi and Kisumu, Naivasha, Nakuru, where else? There are some other cities as well, but Nairobi is one of them. Mombasa, Kisumu, Naivasha, Nakuru, Embu, all those kind of cities, there's good social life. So if you want to have that social life, you should live in Nairobi or in Mombasa. Where to invest? Now, In case you're planning to move to Kenya permanently, where should you invest? In case you want to buy a house, in case you want to, do business, you can do business in all these cities that I've mentioned. Any city in Kenya, you can do business. Your business will grow depending on the business you want to do. Because you can't be living in Eldoret and you want to do something like what? Something like casino. It will not do well there because a lot of people who live in Eldoret are people who are farmers. If you want to live somewhere that you want to do farming, you should consider Eldoret, Limuru, Nakuru, Kakamega, Kisumu, those kind of places. You don't want to do that in Mombasa. If you want to invest and you want to, it will also depend on the kind of investment you want to do. Like let's say if you want to do business like a bar, hotel, restaurant, to be somewhere that you can market your business, you have to also look at which city do you want to market or which city do you want to do your business. Then you should opt to do it in Nairobi because Nairobi is like the biggest city and it has high population of people, so it's easier for you to grow in Nairobi, but still you can grow in other city depending on the kind of business you want to do. In terms of real estate as well, you can also do real estate in Nairobi. It's doing well as well. You can invest there. But like I said, Nairobi, if you compare Nairobi, like buying a house in Nairobi and buying a house in Mombasa, you can buy the same house that you can buy in Nairobi, you can buy like 2 or houses in Mombasa with that amount. But still, it also depends on the area that you want to buy the house. Of course, you can't go to Mombasa like beside the beach and buy a villa at a cheaper price. No, you can't do that. Real estate in Mombasa is quite cheaper compared to Nairobi. There are so many business also you can do in Mombasa. Business that do well in Mombasa is like hotels. If you want to do hotels, if you want to do what else? Airbnb, of course, is something same as a hotel. There are so many businesses that you can do in Mombasa that are still doing well. You can be bringing things from Nairobi and bring them to Mombasa because people want things that are in Nairobi so that it can be easier for them. So there are so many businesses that you can invest in. Believe me, if you go to Kenya, you can start up something. It only needs time. You need time, you need knowledge, you need to understand. First of all, the most important thing you should do is first you need to understand the Kenyan culture. Understand that you are in a country where one thing you need to know, if you move to Kenya, just know there is corruption. Corruption is very, very high in Kenya, very high. So these are the things that you should also be careful about. There is corruption. Try to learn the culture in Kenya. Try to have people that can at least, help you in terms of understanding the Kenyan culture, understanding how you can make business, understanding everything about Kenya. For me, I think it's best for you to travel there if in case you're not Kenyan. The best thing you can do is travel to Kenya like a couple of times. Let's say go once, try to meet the locals, make friends with the locals, try to understand the Kenyan culture, try to understand everything about Kenya, the good and the bad. Don't go and pick up the bad things. At the end of the day, there are negative and positive things. So don't always pick on one side. Make sure you pick on both sides and try and, analyze everything. Once you analyze everything, take your time, visit a couple of times. Once you understand Kenya as a country, then from there you can know where to start from, and then you can go and move there permanently, as at least you can understand how you can invest, how you can maneuver in Kenya. But just don't go there like, oh, I want to move to Kenya, and then you wake up and you just go, you don't know anything. Of course, you will definitely go through a lot of scam. You will definitely, this is anywhere in the world. It's very important for you to first learn about Kenyan culture, learn everything about Kenyan before you move there. This can apply to anyone. Even if you are Kenyan and you want to invest in Kenya, you also have to know which place you want to invest in Kenya. Nairobi, the capital city, or you want to invest in the quiet cities. These are very, very